And to everyone out there listening, welcome to another episode of the Professional Heels Podcast. You have me, Brendan Cabino, also known as a Black John Cena, and you have my man, Gavin Gabriel, also known as a Sexy Goldberg. And today we are back. We are back. I've been out wrestling myself. I've been injured. I've been ill. It always comes up and it always affects my schedule, but I'm back now, and I'm happy to be back again. And I just want to say, Gabriel, how's things with you so far, man? How's life been for you?
Things are well, and I just got to ask the listeners, did you miss us? Did you miss us?
Exactly.
It's been a second.
It's been a few weeks, man.
It's been a second. But I mean, that's just life. We're grown ass men, both in our own sides of the world. Both holidays coming up too. With all that just adds a whole nother layer on top of it. But we linked up. We said it's been too long. We figured we'd hop back and catch you guys up with what's going on with us, what's going on with wrestling, a little bit of everything. Firstly, Brendan, I heard you said something about training wrestling.
You know,
tell us about that, dude.
So I've been going for some wrestling sessions in the past month, actually. Just been trying it out. Said, hey, listen, the last time I tried wrestling or tried any sort of wrestling training was in the summer of 2017 when I was doing it with Progress Wrestling, and now that was like, time ago. Now I'm like, hey, screw it, I want to do it again. And it just kicked in straight away. Like, all the things I did 5 years ago, I did it today, and I've been trained by top quality coaches and wrestlers as well. People know who Nina Samuels is. She trained me, and she's amazing in what she does. I think she's in Japan right now, wrestling in Japan. She might be back in England, who knows. But, oh, man, I had some fun. Fortunately, I did get injured, and I got ill. 2.5 weeks ago, and then I got injured on my right shoulder or my right rotator cuff, wherever the injury is, around last week. So I had to stop wrestling for 2 weeks, and they said, hey, that's fine, listen, just come back again in January, because December is a bit of a busy month and they're not really doing any classes. So January comes again, I'll be back onto it.
Nice timing there. For anyone who hasn't seen yet any of the videos, what all have you been doing over there? Learning some ropes, learning some rolls?
Yeah, so, front rolls, back rolls, shoulder rolls, tiger rolls, any sort of roll, you name it. Front bump, back bump, flip bumps, running the ropes in general. I missed a week where I got to do the first moves of like the scoop slams and what's not. That's annoying, but that's fine because I'll be able to do that. I think the hip toss as well was something that I missed out, but I did that way back in 2017. But I actually remember back in 2017, I did the international, whereas the lock up, the run into the ropes, I push them to the side, they come back to me, push them to the ground. Then the leapfrog or whatever, then the hip toss. Yeah, that's that. So I haven't done that in 5 years.
The basics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But
hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. And looking forward to you continue doing it. 2023. Yes, 2023, the year of the Black John Cena.
Yeah, Brennan.
Get a nice jump.
I like that.
there you go, dude. So what's going on with pro wrestling right now? What are your thoughts on everything going down? We had War Games just go down.
So
you know how I feel about this new Austin Theory.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, we've been talking about this for a long while. Oh my God, man. I mean, listen, before you get into him, wrestling has been cool. I've been enjoying it. I've been watching it. I haven't been watching it religiously because, the older you get, especially us in the UK, Raw and SmackDown is on for us at bloody 1 a.m. in the morning, and bloody hell, guys, we love wrestling, but some of us have jobs, some of us have got commitments, and we just don't have time for it, But I've been watching it. I've been keeping up to date. War Games was great. Loving the whole angle with the the Usos, the Bloodline, and Sammy. I almost call it Sammy Uso.
Zayn?
I want to call it Sammy Zayn, but I'm about to call him Sammy Uso. Do you know what I mean? So
he's about there.
It's about there. It feels right now. So it
really does.
Yeah. So it's something where I'm just enjoying the show a lot, and I'm enjoying that sector of the show. I mean, with Raw, unfortunately, it's still a bit dry because Roman Reigns is the undisputed champion right now, and SmackDown's his show. He only really comes onto Raw to do like a promo about how great the Bloodline is and what he's going to do next, and that's really it. But the real stuff is happening on SmackDown. So I haven't really been feeling Raw, but I've been enjoying the products in general, and I'm just trying to see what's coming up next, because now, just like we started for the first time last year, we're going to be on the road to WrestleMania when after the Royal Rumble comes. So, things are coming.
Royal Rumble coming up. I think we did get to kind of review the Saudi Arabia card, but then we've had War Games. So, I mean, as far as that goes, the Bloodline, which they've managed to keep fresh and keep entertaining. And it's one of those things where every pay-per-view concludes, and I'm like, what else can they do to make me not want to root against this? And the Sami Zayn just becoming like the lovable outsider that wants in with his best friend Kevin Owens and all this different stuff has really helped it come full circle. But same thing as you, it's really hard to keep up this time of year. Usually Road to WrestleMania I'll kind of really pay attention, but this time of year where it's like it's hard to watch every single show and each pay-per-view with just everything else going on, life. But I mean, that's what the internet's for, and keeping up on everything we care about, it's still relatively easy to do. We saw Becky Lynch return.
That was cool.
She's back. Cool. She's back. Bianca's still up there though. It's the top female.
The top girl. Yeah, I mean, she's been killing it. She's been, I feel like with Bianca Belair, even though I love her, I feel like the character's a little stale. She is doing what she's meant to do, and that's the most important thing. Obviously, her storylines, her rivalries aren't super enticing, but they always have the potential to be enticing. Because now, with her, I think they're planning with her and Rhea Ripley going at each other for maybe Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. I'm not really sure what it is, but they're doing things. And I am enjoying her, and I am enjoying what she's done as a champion. But I do feel that it's been outshadowed with how. No, I don't want to say the word bad, but how underwhelming the women's division is in general, especially on Raw. Like SmackDown's just whatever. I didn't even think SmackDown even has a women's division today. But with Raw, like they have the women there, but
missing until this last week, missing Becky Lynch and. All the women that were on the roster have been tied up in either their groups, i.e., Bayley and them, or just part of like a group like Asuka and Alexa, just being the slackies. But we've had these flashes in the pan of like possible things, but like nothing has really come to fruition. We saw Mia Yim return, we saw Sarah Logan return, we saw. Nikki Cross is back to the gimmick that everyone likes for Nikki Cross, being the crazy, psychotic, evil woman. I mean, and touching on that, it does appear like Eric Young will be coming back. Maybe we get a Sanity return, which could be cool. But I mean, like we're getting like these possible entry level women, and I mean, you still think of like. From a talent standpoint, like on paper, like the Raw's women looks good. You have Asuka, Alexa Bliss, like all these women, Bayley, Becky back, but like with Becky gone and Sasha and Naomi and I mean Charlotte's still gone, like it's one of those things where you didn't realize how the four horsewomen were so like
imperative
leagues ahead of everybody else until they're not there, and it just feels like something missing.
Yeah, the way I see it, right, and no offense to this promotion, but the way I see the women's division now, especially in Raw, it's kind of like it's AEW, where you have the returns, you have the pop, when the character returns, there's a huge
moments,
pop, there's a big moment, they talk about social media, and then there's the aftermath. What happens after that? What happens in the next episode? Okay, next episode, people are still excited because this might be another promo or maybe the first match or whatever. But what happens after that? You bring back Sarah Logan, cool, what's next for her? Nothing, from far as I'm concerned. You bring back Mia Yim. She's a great female competitor, amazing wrestler. Okay, cool. She's strong. She's with the AJ Styles group, who doesn't even have. Well, I want to call them the OC because they are the OC, but is she the OC? No, she's just another girl that's there, or the person that's there to kind of make the OC and the what's the name of Finn Balor's group again? Judgment Day. Judgment Day, to make those two an equal faction whenever they're fighting each other. So that's really it. So it's not really anything of any substance. And then you have what's her face, Nikki Cross, who, bless her, great wrestler as well, great character, has brought her amazing character back, which got her to the top. And now she's just what? She's just like, what's happening? Like, okay, she's got the crazy character back.
Yeah.
She's now, she had the moment, the pop, the everything, and it's like, okay, that's great. How are you going to defend this character? Are you going to put her in a meaningful rivalry? There's nothing. There's no meaning towards it, and that's kind of what I'm scared that WWE could go down the line, or the path that it could go down the line, and not careful, where they become just a moment's company. You have a big moment, and that's it. When in reality, WWE's always been about having the moments and then continuing those moments or continuing the character, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I would still put them a little ahead of AEW as far as longevity with the women's, but I agree it's lackluster. And my issue, because I see the biggest threat to Bianca right now on Raw anyway, should easily be Rhea Ripley. But the issue in being a single females competitor in these groups where it's a singles male and a tag team male and with the Dominic Mysterio joint, like I see Rhea getting the love she deserves, but like I don't think it's getting her the spotlight she deserves.
Yeah.
It's just being a singles women competitor in a faction. It's just naturally you're gonna get overshadowed a little bit, and it sucks because I love her with the faction. I don't want them to break her off, but they need to do something to kind of push her, not aside, but help elevate her over being more than just the girl in the group.
See what I mean? Think about it like this, right? You see NXT, Mandy Rose's group, Ego, whatever her name is, and the other girl, right? That's a group. That's a group where they all together look strong. They make sense, they do their job, they look good, their characters are sick, they look great, they move.
They feed off each other.
They move well in the ring, they're solid, right? But the issue of Raw is, as you said, the girls are just a bunch of girls who are, how can I say, they're single competitors, but they're just being, brought into a group. It's like by force. And it's like, what's the ultra motive? Okay, the motive is to beat them in a match. Okay, you beat them in a match. Now what? There's nothing. Well, it doesn't make any sense. So we've got that, and it's like, okay, cool. Well, I'm not really understanding it. Again, Rhea Ripley. It's clear as night and day that Rhea Ripley has to be the person that goes and fights Bianca Belair. But then that means that she has to go away from the Judgment Day for a bit, right? But that makes the Judgment Day look weaker because in reality nobody gets down about Dominic Mysterio. And then that means that because no one really cares about Dominic Mysterio, that it's just about Damien Priest and Finn Balor. But in reality no one really cares about Damien Priest, they only care about Finn Balor. So you see what I mean?
Yeah.
If Rhea Ripley then goes to fight and take the title of Bianca Belair, which she needs to, she's useless. Not she's useless, but the group's useless. So then, do you see what I mean? And that's kind of what happens when you put somebody who's a single competitor in the group, because now that they're away from the group, it's kind of like, well, the group means nothing now. Whereas with someone like Evolution, when Randy Orton left or got portrayed on, Evolution was still a big group. You see what I mean? It's all like that group. So, I don't know.
They just feel less like groups and more like a bunch of singles
together, like it's a WWE universe or whatever, like in the video games. So
I will follow a point, and then I actually have a question as far as like what I think could make it better, and I want to get your opinion on. But firstly, like if you look at it, like Asuka and Alexa, like if you look at the two of them over the last 5 years, they're probably two of the more underrated, less like they're both right there with the four horsewomen as far as accomplishments, as far as longevity and all that. They have them in this tag team and they don't even feel dominant like when the two of them are there. Like they don't feel like they go together. They don't feel like either of them have that spark that they had as singles competitors. Yeah. And I just completely agree with you with the group thing. The question I had though, do you think, because when I played out in my head, I think it could give them extreme heat and help Judgment Day overall. But if they let Rhea face Bianca in this Judgment Day kind of thing, they're all ringside, and one of them hits Bianca with a move, or like the most recent I can think of being like when I think it was Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans against Seth and Becky, and Baron hit Becky with his finisher, and that was just like immediately like you're not supposed to fucking hit women, heat. But from like a wrestling fan standpoint, a lot of them were like, oh well, you actually shouldn't do that. I know this is a show, but like that's too far. Yeah. I have never had an issue with it because I understand that it's a performance. I understand there are a million things in wrestling that you shouldn't be doing in real life, first of all. So I don't see the issue with that becoming a thing. The heat they could get for it as well. If Finn distracts the ref and Dominic hits Bianca with a 619 to help Rhea win. I know it takes away from Rhea being the dominant female, but like the heat that could get that group, I think almost outweighs that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I would say the moment. Listen, that's the issue. Well, not an issue, but it would be an amazing moment. It would be an amazing moment, and how can I say it? Like, it would be so important for something like that to happen, where, oh my God, Rhea Ripley, she's like, if validates her as a heel, right? And it's so good because it makes a lot of sense for who she is, because she's dominant, but she's also a prick in the kayfabe role. She's also, a kayfabe role. So if she gets out her big boys, who are clearly way stronger than Bianca Belair, that would be a great moment. But the issue is that will create another, you got your boys to help you out, I'm gonna bring my boys as well, the faces, bring these generic faces or whatever, and then make them fight each other in a long ass tag team match, and then make that a rivalry for a couple of months. So it's like, okay, it's great, it's a great moment, but the aftermath, will the aftermath be of any substance? I don't really know, because it doesn't like it. The moment is good, and it creates so much heat. But my issue is how are you going to bring something of such a big moment and carry it on, where it's not just living off that moment, but it's creating even newer moments, rather than creating a moment and then it doesn't really create anything else, where it's like it's 100% over here, and then the next week it's like 70%, then the week after that it's like 40%, and it just keeps going down. So it will be good, but unless they have a sort of way in which it just keeps Rhea Ripley in that thing where maybe she becomes really the strength of the group, or what's not, it's still going to create a lot of and then the woman who faces her is now gonna get another. She's gonna have to get a bunch of guys from the locker room. It'll be like generic face guys from the locker room. It's just, and I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see that at all. So
I mean, as you describe it, the first thing I could think of was like, James Ellsworth helping Carmella or winning the Money in the Bank for Carmella.
Heat. That was good.
That's the first thing I could think of. No, totally makes sense. I think the women's division is in a weird spot, but I'm hopeful that they kind of pan it out before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Which I have faith in Triple H.
Yeah.
But also there's a million ways to do it, and a million ways minus one ways to do it wrong. They're in a tough spot, but is what it is. I mean, again, I'd still put it over AEW's women, although I have not been starting to pay attention to AEW, but with MJF winning the title over there, that's their first champ. That's their first AEW champ. You've had the ex-WWE, the ex-Japan, the all the ex-other guys come in and win it. So to have MJF, who for a lot of people have known him as an AEW, like that's where he made his name. I think, and possibly that alone, I think MJF is carrying that brand right now, and I think it's the only thing good going over there, in my opinion. And that's not to bash on anyone's opinions. Yeah. Not everything's for everyone. I'm not a big AEW fan as far as the storylines go, but MJF, I think, is single-handedly carrying that company.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think he's a great character. I've watched him. I've seen his rivalry with CM Punk. I think he had a rivalry with someone called Eddie Kingston, if I'm correct. I don't really know much about that guy, but I've seen what he does. Yeah. I've watched his promos. I've watched the in-ring work. I've watched his how he carries himself, and he's great. You know, my guy Justin Dillon, also known as the Wrestling Classic, who's very big on Instagram. He was talking to me about MJF, and he's just saying that how he's been following MJF for quite some time. He's been following him for quite some time, and I think all the way from 2014, 2015, and they've been cool ever since. And he's been saying how he's a great worker, he's a grafter. He does, he's been a big mark for himself. He's a massive mark for himself. He always wanted to get to the top of the wrestling scene. He's someone who, in wrestling, hard work is imperative. Well, he's someone who lived wrestling. Wrestling was everything.
Yeah. And
not only that, it was everything, but he had the pure talent as well. So now it's great to see him at the age of 25, 26, doing something.
He's young.
He's a young guy, and he's doing something so well. And it's just he has so many years in him, and now he can really make himself known as that guy of AEW, because what's going to happen now is when AEW gets even bigger, he's going to be that guy where, how can I say, if that one wrestler who's been around for a few months beats him, that's a massive win for that wrestler. Do you understand? Rather than, it's just be random and whatnot. Do you understand?
Yeah. Oh, very much so. Yeah, he's making himself a household name.
Household name, that's the word.
And for me, it's, if you look back a few years ago, you can see that he's made a bit more of a commitment as far as his physique. Yeah. The dude is he's fucking ripped right now.
He's a big guy, yeah.
And the commitment to the character outside of the ring. So the kayfabe of it. I'm not going to drop this whole douchebag heel look just because I'm doing an interview. No, I'm going to do the interview in character.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And that's as a wrestling fan, and as a wrestling fan who at one point wanted to be a wrestler, the kayfabe is something that's been lost in the shuffle over the last dozen years. But the way he goes about it, and he doesn't. His gimmick is just he's him. He's a douchebag. He's not a superhero or a demon or a high flyer. He's himself turned to 100, and he's always that unapologetically. And he's brilliant on the mic. I would love to see him in WWE at some point. I think where he's at right now, he's so far ahead of everyone else with so much less given to him on that roster. So I like. He is making me slowly pay attention to AEW.
And you know what's beautiful about MJF as well? What I really, really like is that you see AEW is very known for just taking old WWE talents or taking old New Japan talents and what's not, right? MJF is the one guy where you can say, obviously he's been in the scene for a few years, just like Austin Theory was before he came to WWE, but he's been a guy who has being known for being AEW, and that's so important, because that will again make him a household name, somebody that you know about, and that they come from this company. The only issues with guys like let's say Daniel Bryan or CM Punk or what's his face, John Moxley, also known as Dean Ambrose, is that they come from that promotion, that promotion, that promotion, that promotion, that promotion, and they're like 3-4 different names within those promotions.
Yeah, it's the homegrown.
The homegrown of it, and that's what's so good about it, because like, you know, WWE will get MJ. Let's say WWE get MJF, they can't change the name to like, I don't know, MAF. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but Jesus Christ, they can't like they can't change his name. They can't change his name because he's so known as MJF. Or if I'm saying it correctly, then like you can't change it. Like maybe like with someone like Kevin Owens, who I think his name was Kevin, his actual name is Kevin Steen. You could like that's stuff where it's like, yeah, you can change that a little bit, like it's like a surname change, so like that's whatever, but his name is still Kevin. You know, Drew Galloway, also known as Drew McIntyre, like you can switch that around here and there. Everyone knows that Drew McIntyre is like a WWE guy, but he also went to TNA, he also went to that and that.
All the names for John Morrison.
Yeah, all the names for John Morrison, do you know what I mean? So
it's got a different one on every promotion.
So it's when you come to AEW, you've got someone like, you know, MJF? Oh, fuck no. MJF? Is that right? MJF, right? Yeah. It's like, it keeps kidding me. You have that as that guy, right? It's like, yes, mate, you are him, you are the AEW guy, you were the top guy at AEW, and now people who are talking about AEW aren't talking about it because it's, oh my god, it's just about, they're only talking about it because of WWE, or they're only talking about it because of New Japan, or even TNA Impact or what's not. They're talking about it because it's AEW, and that's the important thing. You see what I mean? When they start to make conversation about the promotion, about a big promotion that's AEW, because of AEW itself, rather than that guy came from WWE or that guy came from this. It's like it's finally become its own company now. When you create guys like that, does that make sense?
Yeah, it reminds me of, you know, WCW started and they brought over Hogan and Nash and Hall and Savage and Sting, and they were big with WWE, so when they moved over, it got them those initial views, but then they used their platform to build up this Goldberg-esque character who is known from that promotion, and now when you look at it in 10 years, assuming everything goes to plan and no injuries and yada yada, that MJF does at some point jump to WWE, because, I mean, when you break it down, AEW is second, but the difference between first and second is so far. You got to think, even as someone who's like gets their first AEW, like, wow, this is amazing. But what I would want more than anything else is to have a match at WrestleMania. That's the pinnacle for pro wrestlers. I don't care where you're from or where you go. But so for MJF, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years down the line, when he builds himself up as the guy who made AEW what it is or what it will be, and then he makes that jump over, that's hopefully something that he carries that momentum, and when he comes into WWE, it's going to be similar to when Chris Jericho came to WWE or Goldberg came to WWE, Booker T, like
these big names,
because they
because they were house of that company, and then they came over to WWE. Like, I know who he is. He's sick. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does in this in the main company or the big company, you know.
Exactly. But I feel like that's the most we've talked about AEW.
Yeah, it is.
The whole time we've had this. That's MJF working magic already.
About that, because I was actually very excited to continue talking about that. So no,
MJF working magic. My girl Jade Cargill gets clicks too.
I like Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill is. I'm in love with you, Jade. I know if you listen to this, I just know that, I know there's girls out there that find me attractive, but I want you, and I feel like you're just the one who will complete me, and I'm just going down a bad loophole right now, but I like you a lot.
Fuck it, going down.
I'm going down bad.
All right, we'll jump back over to familiar territory before we get a little out of pocket. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh man. So
you gonna say?
I was just gonna say. So WWE about to get into that part of the year. Yep. We're about to have the Rumble. possibly Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, it's always like
when we do that, but the road to Mania starting. Who?
I was gonna say before.
I don't even know if we have a date yet. I'm sure we're probably about a month and a half away. But early rumors are suggesting the possibility of The Rock winning the Rumble.
You know, which
ties back into all this Rock and Roman kind of thing, which I still have like this grasp on. Like, yes, hopefully. I'm still not positive on it. I don't know. What do we think?
I could have sworn I saw that on social media, or like on Twitter or something, and I was just I was like him and Bruce. I didn't really pay attention, but you seeing it there just validated for me. I mean, The Rock, why not? I mean, if the ship hasn't sailed, it has not sailed because no, it has not. I thought it was going to happen last year or last Mania. Because that was the whole sort of thing of like, oh, he's going to end Roman's thing. Yeah, it's going to be The Rock, but it didn't happen. Entirely fine. It happens now. Cool. That'll be interesting. That'll be pretty chill. I'm pretty sure it'll be pretty epic, I should say. It will be intriguing because The Rock coming in will just bring even more element to the bloodline and everything. And it's just like, I kind of feel that with what happens with the bloodline in terms of like ending the bloodline and ending Reigns' title reign is whatever you do, I don't think there's a way you can really fuck it up because they've built so many foundations with it, whether it's Solo Sikoa, whether it's Jey Uso, whether it's Sami Zayn, whether it's somebody that's of the highest reign that can defeat him. It makes sense, but obviously, storyline wise, obviously they'll be like, oh, maybe Sami Zayn should be the one to do it, or Jey Uso needs to be the one to do it. But The Rock doing it does make even more sense. It will be pretty cool. It'll be pretty cool, and I'll be excited for that.
It would just open like this fork of like a million new possibilities.
Exactly,
Either The Rock dethroning him and throwing a kink into the bloodline, or The Rock passing the torch to Roman, and that being for anyone who doesn't have Roman in a conversation right now for greatest chance or greatest championship reigns, like I think that elevates it very much more up the list.
Yeah, definitely.
So, really interesting stuff as far as what we have on the horizon.
But just before we end this off, Austin Theory, give me your thoughts. Man.
The Money in the Bank, him winning it, and when Vince went out of control, I think before we even saw anything, in my opinion, I think we all kind of knew it spelled bad luck. Not bad luck. People forget that Austin's been with WWE now for 4 or 5 years. Like, he's not a rookie anymore. He was in NXT. He came up. He was with Seth Rollins. He was with Johnny Gargano. He's been paying his dues. He's still young, and he's still young in the industry, but people were giving him this, like, oh, Vince isn't here, you have no reason to have any sort of push. Yeah, and I was worried about how they were going to do it. I was hoping he held on to the Money in the Bank. Something like this happened, and then he cashes it in later in the year, or maybe after Mania, at Mania. Him losing the Money in the Bank, okay, I'm not worried about it because I know that he's a hard worker, and I know that if he can construct himself in the way I think that he already has shown in 2-3 weeks, he's going to be back in the main title picture at some point. You give him less than 5 years, he'll be up there. But dropping the selfie gimmick, being a little more serious, being a little more mean, a little more of a heel. That was the only match I've watched so far from front to back War Games, and they had a really good triple threat match. Him, Rollins, and Bobby Lashley. And you throw him in there, you see that he's not quite Bobby Lashley's size. I mean, who is? But like he's built and he's moving like Seth built. Like I think he's gonna use this run to change a lot of people's minds about him. As a worker, and I think this will be good for him. I'm glad to see him as the U.S. title holder. I think that'll play good for him as far as keeping him busy at WrestleMania or going into WrestleMania. Don't know what they have planned for that, but I love it. In the long run, I love it. There was a lot of weeks where if you'd have asked me week to week, I'd have been like, it's disrespectful. He needs to be. They need to let him prove it. But I think this is them doing that, and I never doubted Triple H about it, but it was more so like how quick they could expedite it. I'm loving it though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, listen, with Theory, I remember like texting you when he lost his Money in the Bank, and I was just like, this is some bullshit.
Pain.
I was literally like, what the hell are you doing to him?
On such a weird way too was
but the thing is, when he came up with the storyline and the story of why he did it to the US title, it made sense. He tries to go for Roman, he gets fucked over, blah blah blah, and it just doesn't work. And the thing is that I really like him. I really like what's going on because Vince McMahon is gone, right? And we all know that Austin Theory got really big, or got a lot bigger because of being, to fit the chosen one from Vince McMahon, right? But Vince McMahon is now gone. He's away from the company, and he's away from the company in terms of kayfabe as well. So now you have him on his own, right? Before he was the self-pretentious, narcissistic brat of a kid who loved himself, who was the chosen one. Because he was the chosen one, he had this sort of mindset. Now that's gone. Now he has this sort of character about him, and it's amazing. Where it's like he's serious. There's no selfie gimmick anymore. Yeah. He's grown out his beard more now. He just looks like he's not a joker anymore because people look to him like he was just a young kid who doesn't know what he's talking about, doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't like. He's just dumb. He's just dumb and young. Whereas now they're like, he's like, okay, is that how you see me? Okay, cool. I'm going to show you exactly why I'm the guy. I'm going to show you exactly why you need to respect me. I'm going to take the title of Rollins. I'm going to hold the title for a couple of months at least. I'm going to show you guys why I'm that guy. And I just want everyone to get off my fucking back because you keep bullying me and you keep looking at me like I'm some dumb kid, but I'm not a dumb kid. I told you, I'm a man now. Yeah, so that's good for you. He's really showing himself. And I feel like this is very natural as well. I feel like this is, not to compare him to someone like John Cena, but like I feel like this is kind of like a sort of way to get up to the top without having to be pushed too far. Because what could have happened with if it's a man still around is he gets the Money in the Bank, he cashes in on Roman, he somehow wins against Roman because of Vince McMahon's help and what's not. He's the champion, whether it's WWE or Universal, and bam, that. Now what? Do you understand? After that, now what? Because in reality, in the kayfabe world, Rollins is better than him, Bobby Lashley's better than him. Pretty much any main event roster or person on roster is better than him. So it makes sense for him to really build himself up to really become that guy who is known as the strong one, the guy who is who's not a kid anymore. He's not the Randy Orton in 2002. He's not the John Cena in 2002. He's the the top guy of of his present day. Do you see what I mean?
Being able to reinvent himself the way that
you see what I mean. So
yeah. I'm excited. I you know, and you've had my back for most of it, but the sky is the limit for that kid.
Sure.
And
Definitely.
I will defend him until he gives me a reason not to, and he's risen to each occasion. Every time they put an obstacle in his way, I think he, kicks that barricade down impressively.
Big time. But yeah, listen, I reckon we've covered enough for this episode. It's time to just get back into regular routine.
Dipping our toes.
Yeah, you know how it is. Now me and Gable, we're getting back to general schedule, which is great. I'm still a little injured, so I'm not looking at my biggest right now. I'm still looking big, but my right shoulder's a bit ouchy, so I can't go a bit light for now. Yeah. But listen, guys, it's been absolutely amazing, and again, thank you to everyone out there who's listening. Your support is amazing. Your support helps us go forward, and it just gives us more and more motivation to do so. To you guys, thank you so much. And again, to everyone out there listening, thank you for listening to another episode of the Professional Heels Podcast. You have me, Brendan Covino, also known as the Black John Cena, and you have my man Gavin Gabriel, also known as the Sexy Goldberg. And on this occasion, we bid you adieu. Thank you very much.